is usually the biggest consumer of sports. Let it be basketball, football, whatever. Middle America, not New York, not LA. I'm talking about people, those states in between.
Right.
You piss off those people, there goes your fucking market.
Right.
It's an election year. I don't know.
This is the way I see it, all right? And this is on not such a big scale, like the NBA or LeBron James and his whatever. This is more, it's the same situation, but in a smaller scale. For example, the company that you work for, or let's say even if you work at a tire shop, right? And then the owner of the tire shop, he gets an opportunity to be like, hey, you know, I either have to say this, which is against everything that we believe, in order for us to keep the paycheck, and then he does it. Now, everybody gets to keep their job, but it goes against all of their moral beliefs. Is that a right thing to do? Or is it, you know what I mean? It's kind of in that threshold in a smaller scale. But when you blow up the fact that there's people dying and things like that, it's a different story. However,
I get where you're coming from. It's hard. I'm not saying it's an easy decision. Yeah. But what would you do?
I honestly have no idea, bro.
All right. Let me pause it 1 second. All right. We're back. And what were we talking about?
I just gave it on a smaller scale.
It's hard. Okay, yeah. Like you're saying, I actually think it's hard. I think it's just hard, but there's no amount of money in this world when it's something, for, at least for me, for what we do and what we're trying to do, from the point of view as a comedian, as a creator, as an artist, more than money, the ability to say what I want, how I want, when I want, is more important to me than $1.
Right. So, unfortunately, in this situation, you not saying something is probably just as bad as saying something. Yeah. So, and it's bro, it's just a tough deal, and it's unfortunate that out of coincidence that the NBA was out there in China doing the preseason, and this crap happens. I mean, it was just it's a freaking crap storm right now,
dude. And it's what's sad, and I think what hurts about it most is this is probably going to be one of the most interesting NBA seasons in a long time because of the way the teams are set up this year. And now you have this scandal that is probably going to permeate the rest of the year.
Well, the good thing is that it's not on US, right? The NBA isn't Chinese. It might be a huge market, but I don't think it'll have an effect anyhow on any team. What it's having an effect on is the NBA as an organization. But individually, as a team and as a player,
there are reports that people show up, protesters show up to NBA games here in the States, to protest alongside, stand in solidarity with their Hong Kong brothers and sisters.
Okay.
And they're being told they can't watch the game.
Here in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
What do you mean?
Like, there are NBA officials that represent the team or the NBA as an organization telling fans who stand and agree with the Hong Kong protesters saying you cannot protest here during this game. Now, to me, as long as they have a permit, they should be allowed to.
Okay.
But they're not being allowed in the building. They're not even being allowed on the premise. If they're wearing a T-shirt that says Free Hong Kong or We Stand with Solidarity, they're being told to remove the clothing or leave the game.
And this is at China?
Here in the States.
Oh, here.
Happened in Houston. It happened in California.
Okay.
It happened in New York. Preseason games here in the States. They're not fucked up. They were only playing like a handful of preseason games out there.
So basically what you're saying is that
the NBA has chosen to side with China.
So what you're saying is that they're breaking federal laws, essentially, of freedom of speech here in the United States. One of the largest organizations alone is breaking the constitutional right of wearing whatever T-shirt you want that can say whatever the hell you want.
Because you're in their building.
Wow. Okay.
It's happening. And it's sad, dude, because I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on politically. What's happening in China, what China's doing to their people,
it's unhumane.
It's
really inhumane. I mean,
dude, it's scary. 1984, Hitler, Russia, like in that scale.
But why isn't it okay? Those things that caused world wars back in the day, and twice. Is it not going to be the same thing?
We're headed that way.
History repeats itself.
We're headed that way. I mean...
Are we past the age where we can get drafted? No, right? I think it's 33.
36.
36? Jesus. Well, I better get in shape.
Bro, me too. What do you think I'm trying to do?
Dog.
Bro, it's a scary thought. I think it's a scary thought for me because even though we're in a financial and cyber war with China right now, I think that one wrong move can lead to a physical war, to actual bombs and troops. And I don't know enough to tell you the little intricacies that might lead to that, but you never know what's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. And I just feel like sometimes I wonder, like, man, what if it would have been somebody else that would have been representing this country to go out there and to have these trade wars with China and be able to negotiate? I don't think that there is a stronger negotiator, whatever view you want to see Trump, there is one thing that he has proven 100% in, is that he is a sales guy, right? I mean, he has said things about China on Twitter. He has openly said things about China, gets away with things, goes back into their country, negotiates deals or even attempt to negotiate, and they still open the door for him. That lets you know how much power he might really have, because I'll tell you right now, if it would have been Hillary if she would have won,
we probably would have given him everything to China. Everything that they wanted.
And I'm not even talking about, and I wasn't even going to say that. I was just going to say, I don't even know if they would have gave her the light of day. Go bring one of your boys, because I'm not talking to you because you're a woman. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Probably one of those deals, which is horrible.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. It's a weird time to be alive, dude.
Jeez.
It's like the best time to be alive, but it's also like the scariest time to be alive. You ever think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it all the time, bro.
Dude, it's like when it comes to like being creative and doing shit, I think it's one of the best times to be alive. But when it comes to like world affairs and politics, it's like one of the scariest times to be alive.
I mean, it reminds me kind of like the Renaissance era, like creativity and just everything was abroad, and then at the same time, it was like it's such a turning point as far as political views for a lot of countries in Europe.
I know.
And I feel like we're kind of there right now.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you listen to Glenn Beck.
Yeah, man, he's OG.
I was watching one of his videos today, and he was like that the U.S. we hit like our teenage years as a country. Like we were a kid for so long. We're like a teenager as a country. We're a teenager right now. That we're old enough to have a history, but we're not old enough to know what to do with that history yet. So we're trying to figure it out. And he was like, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing either.
Right.
Because our morals are changing. And you can tell.
Ooh.
And you can tell.
Kind of like you used to like when mom would drop you off at school, and I was like, yo, don't drop me off over here. I got it from here. Damn.
Yeah. And I like the way he put that, because it was like, I never thought about it in those lines. He was like, he was very frank. He was like, I don't know what this next election, this next 2 or 3 elections, what is America going to look like?
Bro, the next 30 years.
2030, what are we going to look like? What are we going to look like? Because we're dealing with China right now. Look at the way the media is covering it. It's either, depending on who you listen to and who you watch or who you decide to ingest, it's either, oh, no problem, it's just, one guy fucked up, or no, this is a big problem.
Right.
And we should be addressing this as the big problem that it is. I happen to think that it is a big problem, that a lot of people in the media in general are shrugging it under the rug for $1.
And that's ultimately what Americans are, honestly. We're all about the mighty dollar. And you're absolutely right about that, depending on what angle you're looking at it, because even today, I was, I was on Twitter, and then I was just kind of, reading off the whole Nancy Pelosi thing that happened.
Bro.
And so, Democrats, their point of view was, she schooled Trump, this and that. And then you look at the Republican side, and it's like, oh, she had a meltdown. And I'm like, dude, I mean, they're both technically right, which is scary.
What do you believe? I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. They had a disagreement. They probably had an argument.
She did have a meltdown, and having the meltdown, her point was given. You know what I mean? So that's the way that I look at it. Like, yeah, it was a true meltdown, and it was also like, yeah, she did. Like, she had it. She was done.
It's an interesting time, bro. Like I don't know, dude. There's just a lot going on right now. It's a lot going on right now. It's great. It's great if you're writing comedy.
Yeah, it's great if you're a journalist. Yeah, if you're I mean, a lot of content.
Oh, for sure. I wonder if she was on her period.
I don't think they have it at that age.
Maybe. She's a politician, bro. She's probably getting it pumped in.
What?
She's being kept alive.
Oh, I got you.
She's being kept alive by the blood of young children.
I just didn't know how to take that joke.
All right.
I get it now.
All right, guys. So let's close it out, dude, because you got a football game to watch and a wife to hang out with.
That's right.
All right, man. So Errol Spence got in a car crash about a week ago.
Guys, we're not going to see him box for a while.
Yeah, middle of next year at the very earliest.
Right. I mean, he has all the money in the world to have the best medical care, medical attention, where he can recover faster than the normal human being that gets the trash healthcare from their job. But what I'm trying to say is that it's very sad because it's bad for boxing.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be him and DG sometime next year, so I don't think that's going to happen now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, dude. We covered most of the other news. Who's your winner this week?
Bro, I'm going to have a split on winners. I'm going to say Miami Hurricanes number one because we were able to come back, number one, get a conference win and also get to beat somebody that was in the top 20.
Yeah.
Which allowed us to get bumped up a little bit, but, we have a long way to go. The second winner, I'm going to say the Nationals, bro. They came from behind from a trash season, potentially. Not only beat the Cardinals, a great team, but swept them. They didn't win a single game against the Nationals. In Major League Baseball, that is major. So for me, I split that win with Miami and the Nats. I mean, who's the biggest loser to you, bro? Or who's the biggest winner to you?
Biggest winner, Miami Hurricanes. Mm-hmm. Stylebender, which we didn't get to cover that.
Correct.
But Stylebender becoming UFC middleweight champion, unified.
Boom.
And my biggest loser this week, I was thinking about this. I say Triple G because I think even though he won the fight, he looked horrible doing it. And two, the NBA. So the NBA for sure is one of the biggest losers, and Cowboys are the biggest losers for me, bro. For sure. You cannot lose 3 games in a row. Their season is in peril. If they do not win this week against Eagles, number one, they're not going to... They might take our first round pick. They're not going... Well, no. They might take... No, they're not. We have 12 of them this year. I thought we only had like 3 this year and then like 2 next year and then a couple more the year. Well, I guess combined for... we have like 12 or 13 picks, something like that. But what I'm saying is... The Cowboys, if they do not beat the Eagles this week, bro, they're not going to the playoffs. Yeah. Well, any shout-outs, dude? No shout-outs to a particular person. No? Yeah. Well, I'm going to shout-out Ronnie Raw, the comedian I interviewed on Tuesday, and Rudy Ramsey for having us on his podcast. No fan questions this week? No? I didn't get it. All right, bro. Where can they find you, man? They can find me Joa 305 on Twitter. They can find me Facebook. Put my first name and my last name. You can find me on PlayStation, Maddo 305. And you guys. Oh, did I forget one? Oh, Twitter. That's what it was. Twitter. You can find me on Twitter too. I'll be tweeting. Joa 305. Trolling, bro. I do a little bit.
I like it's Twitter.
It's Twitter. Trolling. All right, guys. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Conocast Pod. Conocast on the rest of them. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. Help us.